If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. The creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download that free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello there, welcome to another episode of the Disabled Guy Podcast. I'm your host, the Disabled Guy. For this show, I want to talk to you about love, and I want to talk about specifically how love is letting go of fear. Because I think ultimately that's something that many of us struggle with, regardless of what our situation is. I'm disabled, I might, look at love different from another person that's not disabled. So that's my point that I want to try to get out to you on this episode. I think we all have different insecurities in how we look at life and how we look at things that we struggle with. And love is one of the things that I think we all search for. And I think one of the main key things that we must acknowledge and look at is that we have to love ourselves before we can love anybody else. Often I talk to my mentor at least daily, if not at least 3 or 4 times a week. And one of the things that we talk about often is, hey, you gotta love yourself and be that person that you want in order to before you can love somebody else. So that thing's always sit on my heart, and I always think about that, like, hey, how can I better myself? I read a book entitled what was it? Getting the love that you want. I think that's the name of it. And I think I read another book called The 7 Levels of Intimacy. And the ultimate goal about both of the books is, hey, be the best version of you. You be that person that you desire. So, like I said, that's a critical thing when we're looking at this thing about love. And also, we're looking at this thing about fear. So what kind of fears do we suffer from? We often suffer from maybe the fear of how people is going to receive us, how people is going to look at us, how people is going to accept us, just our outer appearance, or what's going on inside. I know for me, like I talked about in my previous episode about the out-of-body experience, I went into details about me being injured at the age of 5 and just having my, how that, changed my life as far as whole. Now, right now at 39, I'm in pretty a good place as far as loving myself, but there's always constant work that needs to be done to better improve myself. And I suffer from different fears that maybe you suffered differently, and it all comes back to, hey, a part of my life that change. Maybe I still would have had these fears, just different ones that had nothing to do with my disability. So I read a book some time ago, maybe 5-10 years ago. It was entitled "Love is Letting Go of Fears." And often we let fear control our mind, and we have to take control and ownership over that. And I think it talks about fear as being something that we made up. It's not really a reality, but it still controls us. Cause it goes back to, like I said earlier, we are scared of how people might, how they gonna accept us or how they might reject us. And I think about often. I go back to my mentor. We talked about, when you trying to get in relationships and you get out in this dating game, relationship game, You gotta be open and honest with yourself. Everybody isn't gonna accept you or love you. That's a part of the game. So you gotta have thick skin at some time. Like, hey, do I want to be in this game, or do I not want to be in this game? That's a decision you gotta make. Because when you get out here, it's gonna be some times where, hey, you see somebody that you're really interested in, and they may not look at you the same way that you look at them, and it might just be a friendship level, and you have to accept that everybody isn't gonna love you or want to be with you like you want to be with them. So for me, growing up, I was kind of scared, being that I have a disability. I was hit by a car, so I suffered a spinal cord injury, which affected my nervous system and affected my respiratory system. So for me, I go out in a wheelchair. I could walk around the house and stuff. My primary mode of transportation is the wheelchair, and I have my respiratory system. I also have a tracheostomy, so that was another thing. I was always like, dang, I didn't get one blow, but I got 2 blows. I'm like, okay, how are people gonna accept me? I'm already in a wheelchair. That's one thing they gotta overlook. Then I have a trach. Then I only have the good use of one arm. Something like that. That's 3 things that I have to overlook, or have to get people to overlook me. So we could do this in many different ways. Some people call it a defense mechanism. So I may say, hey, I'm gonna break the ice and be a clown and make people, comfortable around me and let them get to know me that way. But it's all how you look at it or whatever. For me, now that I'm older, I said that it was a fear for me. Cause I wasn't loving myself to the point that, hey, people gonna love me or not love me at all. But I had to accept myself and love myself first. So that was critical for me. So I started dating, and I want to say middle school / high school, and I chased this girl for maybe a whole year. I finally got her, and then she died from a heart murmur maybe 3 months after, we dated. So as I look back on it, that was another fear that I suffered from, because I'm like, dang. I said, the girl that I chased, I finally catch her, and then God takes her from me. I'm like, why would God do this? Somebody that I was, and I didn't know until after she died that how much I loved her. So that was a thing of, hey, there's another fear that's coming up. Not only the wheelchair and the trach and the gimp arm and things of that nature, but now I'm scared of, hey, do I get close to somebody when God has, took this person that, I was in love with away from me as soon as I got involved with her in middle school and high school? So that was a tragic moment for me. And going back to, I think I was like 14 or 15. Now probably like 13, I would say, when we started dating. So that was something that, really hit me hard, and what really was a critical time in my life, and something I had to overcome. And it took me, I want to say, pretty much until I got into college. I think my first relationship was maybe like at 20 or 21. And I actually dated a nurse. So I felt a little comfortable with my disability and dating somebody that was in the medical field. So I was like, hey, they could accept me and see who I am. And I think that just helped me build confidence as far as, hey, I'm dating somebody that isn't or sees me for me. And I think their profession allowed that to happen. Now I want to say something, and I don't put nothing down as far as, hey, that disabled people shouldn't date disabled people. But I've noticed how that has than for other people that I know that are disabled. They feel more comfortable dating people that look like them or go through the same things that they have gone through or are currently going through now. But that's not my story. Every woman I've dated has never had a physical disability. Now, they might have had mental issues. I don't know. But as far as a legal documented disability, no, they haven't had anything like that. And I remember an old counselor said to me, he said, hey, go get one of them. Go get one of their girls. Or something like that. So it always stick to me. He was actually a coach of the basketball team. He was actually shot and became disabled that way. So that always stuck out to me about, hey, go get somebody that's able-bodied. Because there's an ongoing joke that within inside the disabled community as far as, hey, why would I get somebody that's like me if in case my chair tips over, I need somebody that's going to help me get up. Not saying that they can't help you get up, but it's just a little joke inside the disabled community. So, like I said, that first relationship helped me a lot. So, I got married in 2004. And that was, prior to that, I had been into 3 relationships before that. So, all these relationships are building my confidence. And I'm getting high self-esteem. I'm learning that, hey, okay, people are seeing me as far as, hey, this is the disabled guy. This is not, his disability. You might be misunderstood from the outside, but he has a lot to offer. So don't let the disability confuse you that he doesn't have nothing to offer. Because I've had a lot of people come in my life and say, hey, you're very smart, or you're very intelligent, or you are very witty, or you have a lot of things that you can offer to the table. And people need to take the time to get to know you. I once dated a woman. I want to say this was back when I was in undergrad. She said to me, hey, what do you want? Do you want me to be a woman, or do you want me to be a mother? I can't fuck you and be a mother at the same time. So I'm like, hey. I'm like, okay, you making a good point. So, like I said, she saw me as a man. So, everything just started to fall in place from, just, like I said, being in college. I went away in college. So, that helped me also as far as seeing interactions of being around a lot of guys and, just seeing how they interacted with women or whatever. And like I said, it all helped me out in the long run. I got married at the age of 24. That lasted for 3 years. She was deeply in love with me and everything. And going back to another fear, I didn't know that I would be able to get married or be in a deep relationship, or somebody would want to, jump the broom with me. But, I got over that fear, and that was a big thing. Like I said, she seen me as the disabled guy. She didn't see me as, hey, he has a wheelchair, or this, or that, or that. Because the house that we got, actually, it had steps inside. We got a portable house. We got a portable ramp that we put on the steps out on the outside of the house. But once I got inside the house, I walked up the steps to our bedroom and everything. So, like I said, people are going to like you or love you, and for my case, my friends call me a narcissist. And I tell people, hey, I'm not for everybody. It's no in between with me. Either you're gonna love me or you're gonna hate me, but it's no middle for me. So I've learned that, and just growing up and just development and just seeing who I am, I learned a lot in life. And we have to look at things, and I think about people that I grew up and met along the way. I met a lot of people that that got shot, stabbed, injured in different kind of ways, and they can't handle, what happened as far as their disabilities. And like I said, their disability is what's their fear or whatever. And like, I knew one guy that was a big high school superstar, and I think he got shot, and that's how he became disabled. So he didn't know how to cope with, hey, how do I go from being, on the top of, or a big, well-known in the community as a athlete, to being, hey, I'm in a wheelchair and I'm living my life this way. So it's different from everybody, depending on the situation. And I could go from, just an able-bodied person. They might suffer from, hey, I'm overweight, I'm skinny, I don't look the best, my hair is short, my hair isn't long, I don't feel like I'm the top person out here or whatever. So it just isn't, a person of a disabilities. It's just how you view yourself and how you try to, overlook it and overcome it. And another fear that I also had, and this happened pretty much later in life, is when I had urostomy surgery. Now, I don't talk about this often, being that, it took me, I had my urostomy surgery, I want to say 6 years ago, so that was probably in 2014. And for me, it was difficult for me to deal with, because I was very sexually active. And I'm like, dang, I got this surgery now, in addition to the wheelchair, to the trach, to the gimp arm, like I mentioned earlier. Then I'm like, now that God is throwing this at me, I'm like, why? Why me, God? Why me, Lord? Why is this going on? And like I said, it took me 2 years to really get comfortable and over that process, because I was more, concerned with, am I gonna be able to be sexually active like I used to be? And how do I open up to women out here, showing that, hey, I have a bag that's on the side, that's right below my belly button, that catches my urine. So that was something difficult for me to deal with. How did I deal with it? I just got out there, I guess you could say. I was in a couple relationships. One was with another teacher. She was accepting of women. Yeah, I always say teachers and nurses are pretty much accepting to anything. And that they deal with a lot, as far as with the hospital and schools. So they pretty much accepting to anything that's out here, even with, outside the school. They around it so much, so they pretty comfortable with it. So later on, I want to say in 2016, I met a lady that's very close to me, even till this day, even though we're not involved anymore. But she was one of the first women after I had this surgery, and she was amazing to me, because like I said, she was very open and honest with me, and she found out I had a bag when we started to be intimate, and we started to kiss, and she started to rub on my chest, and she felt the bag on my, like I said, right below my belly button. So, and we had sit down, had a talk and everything, and she kind of knew what it was or whatever, and she didn't know all the full details, but she was very open and accepting. So the fear was more me. She didn't have a problem with it. It was just, how do we work our way around this as far as having sex or whatever. And it worked out pretty good or whatever. So it was never a complication or anything when we became intimate or whatever. She loved me with no problem. And like I said, it's all about loving yourself, and people, the right people who are going to put them in your life, they're going to love you regardless. So, that's another key point that I always want to say. Hey, you have to love yourself regardless of anybody else don't love you. And from my experience, people are going to love you if you love yourself. And they're going to accept you if you accept yourself. And one of the last two things that I want to leave you with, I want to talk about child development. I talk about child development because it says that, hey, child development is basically from birth until 5 years old. Now, for me, I got injured at 5, so that was still in that process of learning and development of who I am, and who I'm going to become. Like I said, it was critical for me to see I was at the later stage of child development, but it still was a very key point as far as my growth and development and seeing who I'm going to be later in life and how I'm going to deal with this situation compared to others and how they deal with their situations in life. And like I said, everybody is different or whatever, you know. And another thing I want to talk about is a poem I read, I think my freshman year in college. It was from Emily Dickerson. It was talking about, I think it was called looking death in the face, or that was a synopsis. You could Google Emily Dickerson poems and just type in death, and that should come up. But the key thing was, how are you gonna look at this thing? Are you gonna either look at it in the face, or are you gonna let it control your life? Because, hey, for me, I look at it as the first part. I'm going to look at it in the face and look at, hey, we all have an expiration date in our life, but I'm not going to let this control me. I'm going to live my life to the fullest and live my life as, hey, this is what happened. I know death is going to come, but I'm not going to let it control me or my daughter. So I try to be very open and just live my life to the fullest and invest into me and my daughter and try to, give her tips on how to deal with life and her fears. Because I remember, I want to say last summer, she said to me, Daddy, I'm not going to live to see my 18th birthday. And I was a little caught off guard because I'm like, Dad, why would you say that? And my daughter is 15 now, as of 2019. And I was like, why would you say that? And she was like, hey, my friends keep on telling me Jesus is coming back. So I laughed or whatever, and I thought it was a big joke. I didn't laugh in front of her, but inside I thought it was very hilarious, because I was like, oh, that's what you and your friends are talking about in school or whatever. But I had to let her know that, hey, I had to say, yeah, Jesus is coming back one day. But how we deal with it, right now we can only deal with, the present and current moment. And we can't let that control our life. We need to live our best life and live in. I teach my daughter according to the Word and the Lord. So that's how I follow my life. Just obeying the rules of the Bible, and just being honest and having integrity, and just being open, and just different things that that kids and teenagers can understand. And like I said, everybody is different. You may not have the same creator as I have. You could do it through meditation. You could do it through reading books or whatever. I've read a lot of books in my life that has helped me. Like I said, I read the 7 Levels of Intimacy. I've read Love is Letting Go of Fear. I read Getting the Love You Want. I read Spiritual Liberation by Bernard Richardson. I read a lot of different books. And like I say, books might help me, and it might not help you. And it could possibly help you. So it all depends. Like I said, meditation is another thing that might help you or whatever. So and different things can help us get over this thing of fear and can help us with love. Because I think love and ultimately is something we strive from and that we desire in life. I don't believe that people say, hey, I'm good with being alone. Yeah, you good with being alone, but I think ultimately we desire to have a companion or somebody that we could talk to and this and that. So like I said, that's my outlook on that. And I always say, if you have any questions, email me at thislabeledguy at gmail.com, or go on Anchor and you hit me up on there, or just leave a comment on any other platform that I'm on. I'm on Spotify. I'm on pretty much just Google the Disabled Guy podcast, and I should come right up. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this episode helps everybody, and leave a comment, like, subscribe, or whatever. And again, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. The creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.